It's Thursday, the 9th of September, 2021. Today's show, we welcome Matt Beauclerc from the Fulham Focus podcast, who's joining the panel to help us preview this Saturday's match between the Seasiders and the high-flying Cottages at Bloomfield Road. And I'm John Aspinall. This is the Seasiders podcast, Thursday night preview show, Blackpool versus Fulham.
Ollie's already changed the world. A small town from the north of England with a great tradition.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Seasiders podcast, Thursday night preview show. I nearly said Friday. Sean, unmute yourself. Connor, unmute yourself. The guests, the only one who was professional, our guest from Fulham, unmuted and muted himself correctly. Matt, welcome to the Seasiders podcast. Many apologies if I mispronounce your name wrong. Give us it how it should be.
Yeah, Beauclerc, but don't worry about it. I mean, everybody gets it wrong and then says, did I get that right? And I say, yes, you did. So I really don't care. So it's absolutely fine.
Beauclerc, how very Fulham and Kings Road that is.
Yeah, very, very much so, yeah.
Anyway, thanks for coming on, mate. Sean's with us again. Welcome, Sean. Have you had a good week? I know you've had a hard day studying the Argentinian football fixtures today.
Yeah, I think I don't want to watch any Argentinian football now for at least a month after today. But yeah, ready to go for this one.
Excellent. Welcome, Connor. You're looking very lit up tonight, and looks like a big mirror now. What is your window, actually, isn't it?
It is my window. Yeah, I was trying to get my front light working before I came on, but scrambling around with all the wires, but I've been unsuccessful. So I'm browsing Amazon for a new one as we speak.
Have you actually got a front light as well?
Yeah, I've got a little ring light, but it's just broken. So
is that for putting your makeup on with?
Absolutely. It's all about the Instagram, John. Out there promoting the show, getting more followers, just doing my bit.
Nice one. I'll have to take some tips from you afterwards. Matt, Sean's an accredited sports journalist, by the way, so he's the man with all the stats and the facts, and Connor knows his beans as well. So they're the kind of.
I was like, Connor's the man with everything. I just blagged my way into that.
Actually, yeah. Right, Matt, let's get going then. This is a Blackpool Fulham preview show, so we always like to get a bit of info and intel about our guest and our opponents at the weekend. So let's kick off with yourself. So how long have you supported Fulham for? Why are you a Fulham fan? And what's the first game you can remember?
So I've been going since the late 80s. My grandfather used to take my dad in the 60s. And then mum and dad got married. They started taking me. And then, I kind of started going on my own as soon as I could. So I started going when I was, about probably 8. The first game I went to was Swansea at home. Which we won. Ian Dowie was on loan with Fulham at the time and played up front for Fulham that day. But in all honesty, I wasn't really that bothered about the football that day. I was just more interested in getting my parents to buy me something from the gift shop, as you do when you're 8. I don't know. The first game I can remember, it would be something in the early 90s when I started going more regularly, and really kind of had an understanding of what was going on.
Excellent. So tell us a bit about Fulham Focus, what you guys do and your involvement in the show.
Yeah, so it's a big operation. The podcast is just part of it. We've got a website and obviously the social media side of things as well. And there's different kinds of teams of people, if you like, within the wider Fulham Focus group, kind of looking after the social media side. Then we've got people looking after the website. And then there's a team of, which is ever growing actually, maybe there's 10, 15 of us involved with the podcast side of things, which more often than not I host. And we do 2 shows a week. So we put our Blackpool preview show out a couple of days ago this week. We were a little bit early because of stuff that was going on in people's lives this week. That's us really. And then we'll do a reaction show, record it on the Sunday. It's not live; it will go out on Monday morning. But because Fulham have been doing quite well so far this season, the viewing figures or listening figures are up even a lot more so than when we were having an absolute shocker in the Premier League last season. So it's a good little group of guys, and we have a lot of fun doing it, as I'm sure you do.
Sounds like you've got a load of Glory supporting fans that only follow you
Yeah,
when you win a
exactly.
game.
All come out of the woodwork, wanting to hear about the club when we won a couple of games in a row. Yeah.
So how long have you been going for?
To Fulham.
No, the actual podcast.
Oh, sorry. Since 2017.
Right, okay. It sounds like a big pro outfit compared to us, doesn't it?
Well,
I
I
know,
don't
I'm
know
writing it down in my book. I'm taking tips. I'm taking ideas on how we expand, John.
I don't know about pro, but yeah, it's good fun.
Social media teams, Jesus. I think we need to up our game here, boys.
Yeah, there's other Fulham podcasts as well, and I think because the other podcasts do quite a bit on social media, then our guys felt like we should be doing the same level, and there's a bit of healthy competition between the different Fulham podcasts, which I try and stay well clear of personally. But yeah, there's a few things going on.
Excellent. Right, this is a bit of an improvised question that we've dug up from the green room just beforehand. So I commented on the nice retro shirt you've got in there and what is traditionally the Fulham badge. Which is your favourite badge and why? Current one or traditional one?
Oh, the traditional one, but the current one we got when we got up to the Premier League the first time round in 2001. And yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it, but I get that it's kind of quite well recognisable. More so than this one, because this one's a bit busy. But yeah, I'm not a massive fan of it. I do think it looks a little bit Nazi, the current Fulham badge. But that's just my opinion.
It's on the bottom right of the screen, viewers. If you're viewing this, Connor, can you see what Matt's getting at there?
I can indeed, and
it wouldn't be so bad if the FFC was in black or something, but the fact that it's in red as well just makes it even more comparable, doesn't it?
I really hope you guys give a very loud round of applause whenever the players take a knee, because otherwise the optics just won't be good.
Oh dear! Right, question 4, Sean, Connor. Do you want to go with one of these? More your kind of bag, this.
Yeah, do you want to kick us off, Sean?
Yeah, do you want to kick off? Sorry, because I've just lost the document. So,
all right, fair enough. There we go. This is what we mean by pro outfit, Matt. So, tell us about Fulham's kind of style of football under Marco Silva. Are you enjoying it so far?
Well, of course, yeah. We're top of the league. I know it's only 5 games in, but the team that we went up with under Scott Parker 2 years ago is very similar to the one that we've got now, but Scott Parker played very defence-minded tactics, and we have got a lot of good attacking, fast players in this team. And now Marco Silva's come in, he's just basically said attack, go, 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 go. And we've had some really good results so far, and all right, we drew with Middlesbrough on the opening day. We probably should have won that one, but that wasn't our best performance. But since then, we've beaten Huddersfield 5-1, Stoke 3-0 when Stoke had done quite well at the start of the season as well. And 3-0 against Stoke, it probably should have been 6 or 7. We missed a lot of chances, so we're creating a lot of chances, and we've got some decent enough players to take them as well. So. I don't think it's a flash in the pan. You get a lot of these clubs at the start of the season. I think Reading did it in the Championship last season when they were top of the league and they won their first 7 or 8 games, I think, and then just didn't even make the playoffs in the end. I don't think that's going to happen to us. But as we were saying before we come on, this is the Championship and anything can happen. But it just feels different this season for some reason.
Fair enough. And you rightly called out Fulham's excellent attack there. But one thing I noticed doing my research before the pod is I think you've conceded the fewest kind of good quality chances in the Championship so far. So tell us a little bit more about your defence and what makes that tick.
I think I don't want to big us up too much, because I keep saying on our show that we're almost being cocky with the way we're talking about Fulham this season, and we're going to lose games this season, undoubtedly, but it's really difficult to get the ball off of us. We've got Jean-Michel Seri and Josh Onomah sitting in front of the defence, and it's such an attack-minded team. It's a cliche, but the best form of defence is attack, and we do attack very, very well, but when we're not attacking, you'll find it very difficult to get the ball off of us. We've got Tim Ream, who's had another renaissance. Every time we're in the Championship, he seems to get a new lease of life. He's a 33-year-old American centre half, but this season he's been one of our best players. And when we went up a few years ago now under Slavica Jokanovic, we had Ryan Sessegnon, Mitrovic in the team. Tom Cairney was flying in the championship as well. But Tim Ream was our player of the season just because he was an absolute colossus rock at the back. And he has been this season as well. I don't know if he's going to play on Saturday because he's been away with the USA this week, and they're not even back yet. So I think they're going to assess whether or not they're going to be whether or not him and Anthony Robinson, another American defender that we've got, whether they're going to be fit enough and well rested enough, because it's a 3-game week, isn't it? We're playing Wednesday, Saturday, as I'm sure you guys are as well. So we're going to have to start using the squad at times like this. But yeah, defensively we look good. We've got a new goalkeeper, Paolo Gazzaniga, who sat on Spurs bench for a number of years, and he's come into the team. We had Alphonse Areola last season, who was on loan from Paris Saint-Germain, and he was never going to stick around and play in the Championship. He was our player of the season. So yeah, I think that things are looking good. Like I said, the main thing about our defence is how we defend as a unit, but the fact that it's just very difficult to get the ball off of this team.
Possession is the best form of defence. How modern. Love it.
Yeah. But we, in all honesty, we did that under Scott Parker as well. We had so much possession. Some games we'd have 60% possession, 3 shots, 1 on target. It was dull, just keeping the ball for keeping the ball's sake. It was frustrating. We did get promoted, so it almost feels like I'm spoiled criticising that style, but I know which type of football I'd rather watch.
Fair enough. And just one more from me is around, you're obviously really enjoying Marco Silva's brand of football in terms of the all-out attack. Is there any concern among Fulham fans that he'll leave you in the lurch like he did Watford in the 2018-19? Yeah,
I mean, we're only 5 games in, so I think it would be a silly move for Marco Silva if and when a manager loses their job in the Premier League, then his name will probably be linked. If we're top of the Championship still and we're still playing good football, then his name is probably going to be linked. But I think it would be stupid of him to go, because he's doing a rebuild job on his own reputation at the moment as well, because it didn't go well for him at Everton. So I think he's still a little bit unproven in this country, if I'm honest with you. He hasn't stuck around anywhere long enough. He did Hull for 5 or 6 months and took them down from the Premier League, even though they did. They did do quite well and they turned it round under him, but it wasn't quite enough. Then Watford, the whole Everton cloud was hanging over his head for that whole time. So yeah, I think there's always a concern, but I'm not worried about it. I don't think he'll go.
Okay, Matt, moving on from the manager to your owners. So you had a very famous owner in the past, an infamous owner, I may say, Mohamed Al Fayed. So how does life compare under your current ownership? Just give us a brief overview of your current owners, who they are, what they do, etc. How that compares to Mohamed Al Fayed, and most importantly, do you miss the grotesque Michael Jackson mannequin statue?
Well, I can address that one quite simply. Absolutely not. It wasn't only a bizarre idea to have a statue of Michael Jackson at Craven Cottage, but it was just dreadful as well. I went around and had a look at it a few times, and the arm was all out of proportion, and it was just strange. And I don't know where it is now. I know it was in the Football Museum in Manchester at some point, but best place for it would be a skip, to be honest. But so yeah, no. And the connection with Michael Jackson was that Michael Jackson came to a Fulham game with Mohamed Al Fayed once. He came to the Wigan game in 1998. So obviously that makes him a lifelong fan, but Al Fayed was flamboyant, and we wouldn't have had Mohamed Al Fayed any other way. But I'm a big fan of his, but that was one of his more ludicrous ideas, I think. But yeah, so Shahid Khan is the chairman. He bought the club from Mohamed Al Fayed in 2013, and yeah, he's done really well. At times, we've got. All right. I say he's done really well. Actually, he hasn't. We were in the Premier League and had 13 years under Shahid Khan. Under Al Fayed in the Premier League, and then got relegated the second Shahid Khan took over. And then we took quite a while to come back up again, and now we're just this yo-yo team that bounces up and down, up and down. I haven't got a problem with Shahid Khan, but it's his son that's kind of been the director of football for the last few years, and he's been quite a presence on Twitter over the years, arguing with supporters. And the problem with him is that not only does he do the director of football role at Fulham, he's also got an involvement with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who Shahid Khan also owns. He also runs AEW, so the wrestling thing that goes on. Is there someone else as well? I can't remember. But basically, Tony Khan's spread too thinly, and he's very narcissistic. Massive fan of his own work, and whenever anything goes well, then it's always, oh, look what I've done, we've been promoted under me again, me, and you can see why that would piss people off. And then when we lose, he goes quiet. So I don't care. I don't bother with Twitter. I'm not interested in any of that sort of thing, but I can understand why he's rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way by being that way. That being said, we have been promoted twice since he's been director of football. Both have resulted in horrendous relegations the following season because we haven't got the recruitment quite right. So it remains to be seen whether we have this season or not. But yeah, and then how does it compare with Al Fayed? It's just completely different times. Now you've got financial fair play, whereas when Al Fayed bought Fulham in 1997, we were a tier 3 club at the time. And he just completely threw money at the situation and said that he wanted to get us into the Premier League within 5 years, and it ended up happening in 4 years. And he wasn't afraid to make appointments like bringing in Kevin Keegan, then Tigana, and just making lavish signings all the time. So, like I said, when you first asked me this question, he's flamboyant. He was a character, and I loved almost every minute of when Al Fayed was chairman. Shahid Khan's much more reserved, and you don't hear from him very often. So whereas Al Fayed was all about get the cameras on me, walking around the pitch before the game, swinging his scarf above his head. So just two completely different characters. But I think Shahid Khan is no idiot. He's a very, very rich man, one of the richest chairmans or chairpersons in this country in the English Football League. So you don't make that sort of money by being an idiot, do you? So I think it's just kind of taken him some time to get his feet under the table and kind of realise exactly what it takes to be a successful football club.
Okay, so despite the sad demise of the Wacko Jacko statue, how has Craven Cottage changed in the years? I'm just trying to cast my mind to last time I was there. I didn't come in the Premier League season. I think the last time I went, there was the terracing behind the goal.
Yeah. It's changed a lot, obviously, since then. We've really the two stands behind each goal. You've got the Hammersmith end and the Putney end. They're both temporary stands, but yeah, they're obviously all-seater, and then the brand new stand on the Riverside, it's still empty at the moment. It's still being worked on, but by all intents and purposes now it looks like a proper stand, even though the seats have still got their covers on. It should have people in it from next season, so it'd be really nice to go up this season so we can experience it full. But honestly, the stand looks magnificent now by the river. It's twice the size of all the others. And there's going to be some kind of pier behind it, so you can get the boat to games. And
serious?
They're going to put a swimming pool on the roof.
What?
No idea why.
That's clearly your owner's NFL influence. Like, NFL teams putting nightclubs in stadiums and swimming pools in stadiums. It's ludicrous.
You can imagine popping out for a swim in the middle of January, can't you? After a night game by the river in London, it'd be beautiful. But no, it looks magnificent, and yeah, who'd even consider putting a swimming pool on top of a bloody roof of a football stadium? Go figure. Anyway, it looks lovely. I can't wait for it to be fully operational for sure. But yeah, the ground's changed a lot since you would have been there in the late 90s for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know about Sean O'Connor, but I always used to like going to Fulham. I think I've been there 2-3 times. I like the fact that it's kind of a mix of traditional and modern, and it's not your archetypal soulless bowl, is it? There's character about the place. The walk down there, that funny little corner stand as well. I love all that sort of stuff. I'm glad there's still that kind of thing in the Premier League.
I must admit, the only time I've been to Craven Cottage was to watch the Oxford-Cambridge varsity match, and that was very much full of soulless balls.
quite imagine it is. Yeah, I mean we've been criticised for our atmosphere over the years at Craven Cottage, but I don't know. I think I don't think it's that bad, and I think you always get a better atmosphere in the more modern stadiums because they're designed to keep the atmosphere in, whereas our ground hasn't got the corners filled in. A lot of the noise just drifts out behind the goal and behind the stands, and I don't think it's that bad. And I think it's full of character. And I've heard lots of people say that it's one of their favourite away days. Come to Fulham.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was listening to the Football Weekly podcast today, and I think it was Philippe Auclair that mentioned that he thought the best atmosphere that he'd witnessed at a football ground was when you played Juventus in the European competition. Clearly, it's not you're not on your own there with the atmosphere shouts.
Yeah,
Obviously, going on to your style of play, you've touched on obviously key players and things like that. But how do you think that Fulham will line up? Obviously, you said about the international break as well.
Yeah,
potentially players not coming back in time, and obviously the key danger men then for who we should look out for.
Well, I think Harry Wilson is an obvious one. He's signed from Liverpool. He's got a lot of Championship experience, but I think he's concussed from playing for Wales in the week. I think he got injured, so I think he probably won't play. So we'll see. Mitrovic, obviously a key player. I see him getting 25 to 30 goals this season. I think he's already got 4 or 5. Bobby Reid. So we play 4-3-3. So it'll be Mitrovic up top with Bobby Reid and probably, if not Harry Wilson, then either Neeskens Cabano or even Cavallero playing either side of them. Our midfield, we've got Fabio Carvalho, who is our 18-year-old starlet. He's come up from the youth team and just been an absolute revelation. He's got Barcelona and Real Madrid sniffing around him at the moment, and he hasn't signed a contract with us yet either. So really hoping that he's going to do something good with that soon. As I said, then we've got Jean-Michel Seri and Josh Onomo who sit in front of the back 4. And then the back 4, not sure who that will be. As I said, Tim Ream and Anthony Robinson were both away with the US team this week. So I think they may be rested for the midweek game. So probably see Alfie Mawson and Joe Bryan come in for those two. And then maybe Dennis Adoy and Tassine Adarabayo, who's our other centre-half. So, yeah, it will probably be, that won't be too far away from the starting 11, I wouldn't have thought.
I think that kind of speaks to the strength in depth in the squad when you're able to call on players like Neeskens Cabano. Obviously, he's got one of the highest carry per 90 rates in the division. So having someone who's able to take on the ball in the final third like that, if you've not got Harry Wilson, is vital as well. Obviously, you've got Alexander Mitrovic. Perhaps didn't have the greatest season in the Premier League, obviously, but every time he comes down to the Championship, he knows where the net is, and he's got the 3rd highest XG in the Championship. So, what are you expecting from him on Saturday afternoon?
Well, he'll give your defenders a tough time. I expect he's kind of an old-fashioned swashbuckling centre forward. Doesn't mind the rougher side of the game, but he's got quite a lot of finesse about him as well. You know, he scores all types of goals, headed goals. He scores from distance. He gets in the box. He's just a unit. He's absolutely solid. And at this level, he's often unplayable. So, yeah, I mean, if we're going to win the game, I'd expect him to score. But I expect him to score every week anyway. And it was just a shame it didn't quite work out for him in the Premier League last season. There seemed to be some kind of discrepancy between him and Scott Parker. And Scott Parker just ended up leaving him out for the majority of the season, which was a real shame because, you know, a player like Alexander Mitrovic, we signed him, I think, for the best part of 30 million a few years ago. And for a player who has the record that he's got with his national team, Serbia, he could easily just go somewhere else and play at the highest level of the game, you know, either a Premier League side or a top division somewhere else in Europe. But he sticks with Fulham because he loves the area. There's quite a strong Eastern European community in West London, I think, which he enjoys. But also he's just part of the club now. He's part of the furniture, and I think he feels really adored by the fans. And I think that's got to be a lot of the reason why somebody like that would stay at the club, because he could go somewhere else. He could have gone, I don't know, Everton or West Ham or wherever and be part of their squad and occasionally come on and score, or he could just be the main man at a slightly smaller club. And that's basically what he enjoys, I think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's come up against some of the highest caliber of opposition and stuff, but has he come up against Richard Keogh? Will be the question.
Well,
really
as long as Richard Keogh don't offer him,
work.
as long as Richard Keogh doesn't offer him a lift aim after the game, then I think we'll be fine.
Obviously, when you were talking before about the best form of defence's attack, you've forced the highest amount of shot-ending turnovers in the division, and it's kind of that shows that you're able to win the ball high up the park in dangerous positions and create goal-scoring opportunities. So, is there? Say you were pinned back, do you feel like the defence is up to the test in a general defensive standpoint, or do you really feel that the impetus of the defence and winning the ball higher up the park is much more important for you?
Yeah, listen, we've got, as I said, Adebayo, who came to us from Man City last season, but he's been on loan at a few Championship sides in the past, and he's a tall, fast, strong central defender who's very good at bringing the ball out from the back. Yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned about our defence at all this season, and I wasn't last season either. I think defensively, that was one of our strongest parts of our game. And okay, we ended up going down, but we were far more solid once we brought in Joachim Andersen, Kenny Tete last season. I mean, Andersen was only ever on loan, and he's gone to Crystal Palace this season. I think he was on loan from Lyon. But last season I wasn't concerned about defence, and this season I'm not either. I was concerned about attack last season, and I'm not concerned about that either anymore. I know it's big-headed, and I know it sounds awful to say to a set of supporters from another club who have had a struggled start to the season, let's say. But like I said, something just feels different about Fulham this season, and I think we're in for a really good time this season as Fulham supporters.
Excellent, and I think we've talked a lot about the quality in your squad. You know, you've spent big when you've reached the Premier League in recent years. You spent big this window, I think, spending almost as much as every other Championship club combined. With that in mind, how embarrassing will it be for Fulham fans if you don't finish first?
I mean, you know yourselves as well. I mean, it's very difficult to get embarrassed about Fulham these days, because your kind of instinct kicks in that says, well, we're going to do badly this season, so you know we'll just anything that happens to us happens. You know, I'm not that bothered. I mean, I want to have a really good season, and I want to win the league, and you know, I want to get a trophy at the end of it. But I don't particularly care for the Premier League and being back up there and just having, you know, look at Norwich this season. They smashed the Championship last season, and then they've been done 5-0, 3-0, lost at home to Leicester. You know, it's not fun going up and getting absolutely hammered every week. So if we have to do that every other year to get a good season in the Championship, then fair enough. But no, would I be embarrassed if we didn't win the league? No, of course I wouldn't. Would I be embarrassed if we didn't go up? No, I wouldn't. You know, we haven't spent as much as is made out. All right, I think Muniz cost 6 or 7 million. But we've got parachute payments, and we've managed to offload Zambam and Gisa on loan in the last few weeks, so he's off the wage bill for the season. Harry Wilson, we haven't paid anything for yet, and there's I don't know. I think they were talking about 13 million or something for Harry Wilson, but a lot of that will be offset against what they owe us for Harvey Elliott anyway. So I don't think it's quite as bad as is made out, but. You know, a lot of teams come down from the Premier League and don't go back up. So what does that tell you about how well they're spending their money? You've got to spend that money in the right areas, and you've got to build an all singing, all dancing squad so that if and when you do get promoted, then you can stay up. And I don't know whether we've done that this time or not. Harry Wilson's untried at Premier League level. So we'll just have to wait and see. But no, I wouldn't be embarrassed if we didn't go up. You know, far worse things have happened to Fulham than not going up this season. That being said, I think we will go up.
Matt, just a bit of a freestyle question here, based on what you've just said there. Do you think that the gulf is now widening between the Championship and the Premier League? Because, you know, if 5+ years ago you could go up and compete with a reasonable squad of players, it just seems to be happening more and more, doesn't it? Teams that absolutely smash the Championship really struggle and come back down again. And there's a lot of yo-yo clubs, like you said, these yourselves, there's Norwich and there's West Brom.
Yeah, I think the real problem isn't it's not the fact that clubs that come back down from the Premier League get parachute payments, but it's the obscene amount of money that you have to spend when you do go up to try and compete to stay up. Norwich don't bother. They go up and come back down. They don't even try. They don't spend their money. You don't see them making outlandish £30 million signings because they're preparing themselves probably just to come back down and have another stab at promotion. Whereas at least when we go up, and both times we've been up, we've chucked a load of money at it and we've given it a go. And all right, we've got it wrong both times, but at least we tried. So I don't know. Is the gulf widening? I don't think it is, because I can see Brentford staying up this season. I think Brentford are a really well-run club. Ivan Toney's a great player. He had a great season in the Championship last season. I see him getting a few goals this season. So I think if you're talking, is a club ever going to go up and stay up ever again? Then yeah, I think they will. I absolutely think they will. So I don't think that gulf is as big, but I think the gulf between the top 6, maybe the top 4, whatever, and everybody else is getting bigger and bigger.
We nearly stayed up on 1.5 million, didn't we?
You guys were amazing when you went up. You guys were amazing when you went up.
And then James Beattie happened.
That points total would have kept us up every single season since. I don't think anybody's bitter about that.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I mean as well. It used to always be get to 40 points to stay up. And the last few years, it's been 33, 34, 35, I think, maybe maximum 36 that would have kept you up for the majority of the last few years. So, I think there's just the gulfs between the different levels of the Premier League are getting bigger, but not necessarily between the bottom part of the Premier League and the Championship.
Yeah, I was just a comment coming in there. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so speaking of gulfs, this time of one within the Championship, where do you think Fulham are going to finish, and where do you think Blackpool are going to finish?
Well, I've got to say Fulham are going to win the league, haven't I? I mean, I can't come on here and talk about what a good team we are and then not say we're going to win it. I've not seen anything so far that makes me think that we've not got what it takes to win the league. I haven't seen any of Blackpool yet, so can I answer that question next week? I mean, yeah, you guys have struggled so far this season, haven't you? And I look at your squad, and there's a few names in there, like you said, Richard Keogh. I know you've got James Husband and Luke Garbett, who used to be on loan at Fulham as well. But after we beat Huddersfield 5-1 the other week, I said, well, Huddersfield are dreadful. They're definitely going to go down. And they've won every game since. So I don't really trust my own judgment on watching teams once and saying where they're going to finish. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think you guys are going to turn it around?
I'm going to say a solid 17th is what I'm going to say. 17th, 18th.
That'll do you.
I think I put 18th. But the thing is, Matt, we're not getting hammered in games. We're losing by the odd goal, and we're not being blown out of the water. I've not seen us really dominated and embarrassed in any game. So I think we're going to turn it around. We started last season very poorly. I think was it 1 win in 10. And yeah, I think we're traditionally slow starters. I expect us to turn it around and just hover above the relegation zone by the end of the season. Fingers crossed. Right, on that note, match predictions, gentlemen, for tomorrow. Let's start with our guest, Matt.
Oh, well, I went on our podcast earlier in the week and I said we're going to win 4-0. So it'd be I couldn't say that behind your backs and not say it to your faces. So I'm gonna stick to my guns. I listen. I think our attack is incredible at the moment, and we've got so much strength in depth. And like you said, it's an expensively assembled squad. You guys are quite a new squad. I saw you made 4 or 5 signings on or around deadline day. So they're going to take a little while to blood in. But, I don't wish you anything but the best of luck for the rest of the season. But I do think that we'll comfortably win on Saturday. And I don't mean that to come across as really cocky and arrogant. But it's just based on what I've seen with Fulham so far.
Well, I think I said on... I've just been having a Twitter chat with some of your fans for your website. They asked me to do a tiny piece. So I did. I said, my heart says 1-1, but my head says 1-3. Sean?
Yeah, I think I was going to go similar, 3-1 defeat. I think it'll be interesting to see how many of the international players for Fulham potentially are rested, so we at least get a tiny bit of respite. But like you were saying, the players that can come in off the bench if needs be is is more than better. Like, all will absolutely walk into our team. So it gets to the stage where this is the real championship like gap between the relegated Premier League sides and the rest of the division. You're essentially it's like an FA Cup match, basically, at this point, as if you're playing a Premier League opposition. So I think I'll go 3-1, but I think the most important thing is a good performance. If they get a good performance and we're pressing from the front, we're showing intensity and we're being brave on the ball, I think that's the most important thing for me out of this game on Saturday.
The other thing with our squad as well is that most of the players that are in it have been promoted, if not once, then 2 or 3 times from the Championship before, either with Fulham or with other sides. Knockout's gone up with Brighton, Cavaliero's gone up with Wolves and with Fulham. So, we've just got so much experience running through it that, it's going to be difficult for a lot of teams to get anything off us this season, all the while Marco Silva stays.
A few predictions coming in. Jacko said 3-1. Josh said 4-1 Fulham. Matt Smith just said 8-0 to Fulham there. Dust ourselves down and go again. There was the immortal words of Lee Clark.
Yeah.
He used to say that all the time, every time we got beat. Richard Ensor 1-0. Steve Hutchinson 2-1 to the pool.
Was Lee Clark not popular with you guys?
No.
No, was he not? Oh, he's ex-captain of ours. I love Lee Clark.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He came in under difficult steps. Go on, Connor. We've not done you anyway. Sorry.
I'm very much in the theme of Steve and Matt in the comments as well. Football is about dreaming of a result and what might be. So I'm never going to come on here and predict a Blackpool loss. I'm going to abandon all pretense of serious analysis and say key players like Tim Reams and Harry Wilson aren't going to play. That's a devastating hole for Fulham. As we'll come to later in the head-to-head, we're pretty much due a win. I'm going to go 2-0 to Blackpool.
Sometimes, Sean mentioned it's going to be like an FA Cup game. Sometimes things happen in games, and at the end of the day, it's 11 men against 11 men. And if the crowd's right behind us and they're getting roared on and we're treated
Kevin
like
Keegan's speech here.
It may happen. It may happen. It's a funny old game.
What I will say, the best performance of the season has come against the strongest opposition we've faced in Bournemouth. So as much as Bournemouth are a lot more passive with possession, we did show enough there to show that we can go head to head with teams in the division if you're thinking of the caliber of team. But I think Fulham's probably even a level above Bournemouth. So we'll see.
Honestly, for Matt to come in here and say 4-0, I'll just tell you, I would absolutely love it if we beat them. Just love it.
I love that, Holland. Right, Blackpool fans, just to give yourselves a bit of confidence going into this game, let's quickly discuss head-to-head. Now, Matt, you may be a bit surprised with this. Avert your eyes to the screen there. We're doing a bit of digging before the show. Blackpool have won 40, drawn 32, and we have lost 37. So we've got the edge on Fulham. However, and this is a big however, I've just been looking through. It's a bit small on the screen. So those were our last 20 fixtures against Fulham, and the last time we won was in 1987. Blackpool 2, Fulham 1 on the 3rd of October. So there you go. Records are there to be broken, aren't they?
Exactly. So we're long overdue a win. It's pretty much inevitable now.
So yeah, Blackpool and Fulham, Matt. I've been going since kind of the late 80s, and Blackpool always used to play Fulham quite a lot. Our paths crossed quite a lot of times over the years, and he always seemed to beat us or edge us. And we used to never win in London ever. We went through this weird 12, 15-year spell of never winning in London. Fulham was always one. But let's just move on to the memorable games now between the two. I don't know if any stick in your mind, Matt, but one for me was in, you probably weren't there, the other two might have been, is when we drew you in the FA Cup in 2013 away at Bloomfield Road. Freezing night. Just after we'd been relegated from the Premier League. We went 1-0 up. Sean O'Connor, were you there? Delfonso putting us up on the 82nd minute.
I had a ticket for this, and I ended up going on the piss on my birthday weekend instead, so I did not go. And because I was still hungover at that point.
Wasn't it a midweek game?
So
Yeah,
that's
it was
what I
a
mean.
midweek
But
game,
I
wasn't it?
still, this was, yeah, no.
Yeah, I was inside doing schoolwork like a nerd. So
That says a lot about my FY4 upbringing, really. I'm about 16.
FY4 South Shore area of Blackpool, Matt. And I don't know Connor's actual background, but I can guess he went to like Arnold or King Edward's.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Was it Rossall, even posher? Oh. But yeah, anyway, my memory of that game was Nathan D'Alfonso put us 1-0 up in the 82nd minute. It was like a ridiculous amount of injury time. I remember I was fucking freezing. So it was like 30 seconds to go. I had time to go, right, I'm going. With job done in the bag. And as I was walking out, I just heard a very tiny cheer, you know, when there's a handful of away fans there on a Tuesday night. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And they wouldn't let me back in. Because, you know, when they closed the gates. I was like, come on, I've just come in there. We didn't see you going in. They wouldn't let me back in. And anyway, I think Kieran Richardson equalised with literally the last kick of the game. And then Brede Hargeland scored in the 820th minute. So that was my main memory of Blackpool versus Fulham. And also the time when we played in the Premier League. We were well beat 3-0. But that was just after we'd signed the three most useless players in Premier League history. James Beattie, Andy Reid, and some complete unheard of from
Sergei Kornilenko.
And Sean, it was a sign of our intent, wasn't it, that we'd sign those players, and we were just well beaten by Fulham that day.
Well, it was, James Beattie made a bad error, didn't he, for one of the goals, and
that's right.
They went straight through and scored. But I remember that game more for just the sheer atmosphere of we really don't care about what's happening on the pitch, because it was just like we're there and it's just that we're here. We sort of on this. I remember that we were 3-0 down. It could have been about 4, 5, or 6 at that point. We looked knackered and dead on our feet. And the best trip just kept going and going the entire second half. Just the chant didn't stop. And I was just kind of like, you take a step out of it and you just like, the football really didn't matter to us a lot of that season, just purely because of the fact that we were in a dreamland there.
No.
What's going on here?
Have we lost John?
I'm back.
John's gone.
Temporary outage.
You like Matt's little swivel to the right because he was out of focus of the camera there.
I was ready to burst out in tears. It's like when you lose your mum in the supermarket. I was like, what's going on? What are we doing?
Look at this. Remember that Are You Watching Jimmy Hill song when we stayed up in the last game at Fulham and Fulham were relegated around 93, 94? Yes, I do remember that. Are you watching? But yeah, fun times. Matt, have you got any memories about playing Blackpool at all?
Yeah, I think
good or bad?
I'm coming up on Saturday, but I think I've only been once before you turned your ground into an all-seater and you had that big open away end. I came up for that, and it was the Kevin Keegan season in 1998 when we got promoted and we played you and beat you 3-2. Jeff Horsfield scored a couple of goals. You had Mickey Conroy playing up front, who was one of our heroes from getting us out of the basement division. And I remember we were singing his name at half time before kickoff, and he turned around and waved to us. But yeah, that was back in the days when we were just absolutely smashing every team out of sight as well that season. It was a good trip up there, actually. Little trip down to the Pleasure Beach afterwards. Very kind of different away day, I suppose, having all that on your doorstep. But yeah, that was a good trip. But yeah, I don't think I've been since. But yeah, I'll be going on Saturday, Matt Smith. Who's your statue outside your ground?
Jimmy Armfield.
Armfield.
Yeah.
We do have Johnny Haynes outside our ground as well, statue of Johnny Haynes, and George Cohen as well, our World Cup winning right back.
Who kept Jimmy Armfield out of the World Cup 11?
Did George Cohen did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So yeah, slightly more palatable than Michael Jackson at a football ground, let's say.
There was just one more question coming in from one of the listeners. I can't remember. Where is it? It was basically saying how many Fulham fans are expected to make the trip, if you know.
I think we've sold out, but we've got 3 blocks. I don't know if that's normal or whether that's a smaller allocation or whatever. But I think we had 3 blocks for sale, and we've sold them all as far as I know. There may be like a handful of tickets left on the gate, but I think it's basically going to be sold out.
Oh, excellent. So are you travelling up the night before or on the day?
No, going up on the train on Saturday morning. So I live in Reading, so I'm on the 8:15 out of Reading, and then we'll be in Blackpool, I don't know, around 2ish. So any pub recommendations would be greatly received.
Sean's our resident hipster IPA drinker, so I guess coming from Fulham, you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Yeah.
The Old Bridge Tavern, that's the away fans pub, isn't it?
Is it?
Whatever it's called these days, yeah. Bloomfield pub's quite good. It depends if you're coming from the train. Are you going straight to the ground?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't even thought that far ahead yet.
There's plenty of options anyway. It's like, it's not one of those soulless bowls like Reading, where there's just nothing.
Oh, yeah. Reading's awful. It's like I've just said, I live in Reading. It's just the closest stadium to me, but the most pain in the arse ground to get to. Obviously, you can drive, but living in Reading, don't really want to drive to go and watch Fulham away at Reading. So you have to go all the way into town and then get a bus back out again. It's just a faff. Crappy little ground as well. I hate Reading.
It's all right.
The football team. I like the place.
It's our least looked forward to away game of the season. Where no one's going. It's just a terrible away day.
Yeah.
Right, Matt. Thanks a lot for joining us this evening. We're just going to do pick our team for the game tomorrow, so it'll be extremely boring for you. So we'll say goodbye and thanks ever so much for coming on and giving us your insight.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, chaps. Good luck.
Cheers, Matt. See you, mate.
Cheers.
Right, gentlemen, just before we go, we're going to do our own team selection, our starting 11. Always a controversial section in the show. And as I pressed as I've made my disappearing act before, I'm just going to have to bring the Chrome tab up again. That's the one. There it is. Right, Statos. Based on what you've just heard, what you doing with the team tomorrow? Sean or 3-5-2?
Do it.
But we haven't. Is this what we expect Neil Critchley's going to pick? What we want?
No, it's what we want. Ours. No. I've always said our team that's going to win the game.
Yeah, it's not
we mentioned Football Manager on the A to Z Hipster Patreon special show. This is our own chance to be Neil Critchley, even though it means absolutely nothing. But Maxwell and net is a given, isn't it?
Yep.
See, this is the bit where I've kind of realised I've gone 3-5-2 and I'm going to have to drop someone really, really bad now.
Yeah.
Who's centre of the back three then, Sean? Who's centre of your back three?
Big Marv.
I was absolutely certain that you wanted a back three just so you could fit Richard Keogh in, Sean. I know you're such a fan.
Well, James Husband's back on the grass, apparently. I read on the official website today.
Get that out.
What?
Gretson.
No. Okay.
This is a
let Connor go.
Well, I was going to say that Husband's clearly very, very trusted by Neil Critchley. And also, do you want somebody at your left centre back in a back three who's also an accomplished left back? I kind of think that if we wanted to switch it to a back four, if we have Husband there, we could do that much more easily. So I think Husband gives us a degree of tactical versatility in the squad that we just wouldn't have with Gretterson.
Okay, that's exactly what was in my. That's exactly what was in my brain. It gives us a more. I can't remember what he said. A more advanced tactical ability, than Gretterson. That's exactly what I was going to say, Connor.
That's right. Great minds think alike, John.
That's right. Yeah. Let's see. Connor, where is it? Gurney. He didn't go to Palatine and talk like that. What's Palatine called now? Is it called Palatine again?
South Shore Academy. I changed my uniform about 4 times when I was there.
Oh, did you go there, Sean?
Rebranded. Of course, I bloody went South Shore Academy, Joe.
They tried to. It was so shit that they tried to change its name like loads of times, so people didn't know what school it was.
See, it turned to shit. It was amazing in the 5 years that I was there, and then it turned to shit afterwards. That's my excuse.
Okay. Okay, right. We've got two specialist right backs. We've got Sterling. We've got Gabriel. I'm guessing they're playing further up the pitch.
Yeah. Well, Sterling could be a right centre back.
Yeah, I would go Connolly. I just think that it's about time, eh?
Connor?
I would go Connolly as well. I think Connolly, if only giving him a shot at right centre back is the least we can do.
He's earned that. He's literally earned that moment.
He has. Isn't he suspended?
Oh,
not
shit,
suspended, is he?
No. Yeah, because he got sent off against Millwall.
I find it's got to be Sterling then, I guess.
Okay, no, we're going back 4. Change.
Viking?
Not on the right side. If you're going to do that, you shuttle Marvin across.
Viking in the middle.
Yeah.
No.
Are we sticking with the 3, Connor?
I think if we don't have Connolly, and I can't believe I'm saying this, it's like Connolly's such a key player to our system, but I think we do have to go with a back 4, and we probably have to go Garbett, Big Marv.
No. We're not going with the back 4.
All right.
Okay, we've.
Then we'll put Keogh in the middle. It's the moment Sean's been waiting for.
There is not a single chance in hell that I'm signing this off.
Signing it off. Right, what about that then?
All right, fine. We'll put Gretton in the middle.
Yeah, I guess.
Gabriel right wing back.
Agree with that.
Garbett left wing
completely.
Back. Mid.
I mean, are we playing inverted fullbacks here?
Where's our 3-5-2 gone?
This is the thing, right? Okay, so this is where I messed up saying 3-5-2 because I realised that I'll have to drop Josh Bowler.
Let's call it a 5-3-2.
So you'd have to go either one up front.
No, I think we then put Dougal in yet in the middle. And then I would say maybe Keshi and Wintle.
Who?
Do you know? I does everyone. John's done the who, right? I think he's about the 8th person today where I've gone, we have Ryan Wintle. He exists in our squad, and everyone's forgotten that Ryan Wintle exists.
And
let's Josh Bowler is not Josh Bowler is not playing. Bowler's not playing, so where are we putting
That's
Bowler?
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Back 4, then you'll have to go back 4.
No, we've got to stick to our back 5. When we inevitably concede, that's when we switch to a back 4 and we bring Josh Bowler on as a super sub.
Yeah, but I was just my thing before the game was that if we've got any chance of getting something, it's Bowler pinning a fullback higher back into their own half and not giving Fulham that out ball. So it's kind of like if he's not on the pitch, would Gabriel have the ability to do that? Or would we have to have strikers almost letting the centre halves have the ball and marking out wide when we're out of possession?
Well, I think both Yates or Lavery or TJJ could mark out wide. Like they're very mobile, pressing forwards. I think that is absolutely within the realm of their ability.
It's whether we trust that their centre halves won't do anything with the ball if we give them the time and space to have it.
Who's left mid?
What? So what are you going with here? Are we just playing all the attackers? We're playing like 8 attackers.
Well,
again?
I'm just dropping him in because we need to put Keshi
All
in
right,
somewhere.
I think the other centre mid's going to be Wintle.
Wintle. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you spell his name? Oh.
Yeah,
Ryan
like that.
Wintle.
Exactly
Obviously,
right.
Stewart's fit. No, Stewart's fit now. So will
I think he's
he?
coming off the bench, isn't he?
But he came off the bench against Millwall, didn't he?
Did he?
He did, yeah.
So it's whether he puts him in from the start. I think in a game like this he'll go tried and tested.
Okay.
But obviously this isn't what we think he's going to do anyway.
And the other thing about Stewart is that he's very fresh. He travelled halfway around the world with the Jamaica squad to not get a single minute. So that was a productive international break.
Do we know if Dougal got a knock then when he was out of the Australia squad, or was that like a club decision?
Dougal was back in training today, apparently. So
yeah, it was strange.
He'd be relatively fit.
Okay, so you're just kind of having Josh Bowler, just giving him a license to do whatever he likes. It's like, where would you'd essentially you might
honestly,
as well.
I can't believe we're pinning our entire system around an Everton Academy reject. It's like, this is not where I would have predicted 2 months ago where our problems would be.
Playing the false 9.
I really, really think that you couldn't. I don't know if I could have Gretterson in the middle of defence.
Yeah, Matt's just said that, hasn't he? Let's put Marv back in there then.
Yeah, but then Marv's already there, so who are you putting on the right? You can't put Gretterson on the right because he's left-footed.
Right, we're putting the new guy in then, Sterling.
We're putting a...
There we go. That's a sensible solution.
Yeah. And also, if we have Sterling, he has the license to protect Gabriel in terms of recovery pace a lot more. We can take more risks down the right-hand side if we've got Sterling in backing him up. So that's another... Are you essentially putting Bowler up top then? I just don't think Bowler should play. I think we should drop Bowler.
I agree.
Doing this formation.
Ridiculous.
I think your assistance...
But like we said,
How can you drop Bowler?
Listen, on our 1 minute 54 of our A to Z hipster podcasting, we were talking about Cristiano Ronaldo and how you can't just fit your system around one player because it doesn't work. And that's essentially what we will be doing here with Bowler. So you drop Bowler if you're playing this formation, which I have now completely abandoned the idea of playing this formation.
Avert your eyes to the screen.
Yes, but this is what I'm saying. You'll have to change the formation for Bowler then. You can't play Bowler 3-5-2.
I think we just need to move on.
You know on Partridge when he refuses to drive a mini metro?
Yeah. I think we just need to move on and say
Can we not tweet this out, please?
He has refused to abandon the 3 at the back. He's refused to abandon Bowler.
Don't tag me in this, please. I want a job.
He's gone mad with power.
Let's not forget that
Mitch
Sean
there
said
drop Keshi there, so let's get that out of there. Let's get him banned from the chat, please.
What's that? Drop Keshi.
Yeah, let's quick ban on the chat for that, I think.
Right, so that's the 5. We're agreed with that, aren't we? What's the 3 then?
Yeah, I like Wintle. I think he's a good player. I think he was really, really good for Crewe last season, and from what I've seen of him, I feel like he's a bit more mobile than Stewart, perhaps, in midfield, and we'll need mobile runners in midfield compared to what we've had because of Fulham's flexibility in that area.
What? I've no idea what you're doing, John. You've just pinned yourself.
Moving things around,
John.
I like how we're playing. We're essentially playing Yates and Lavery because he can't even decide to drop one of them.
Who'd you drop?
You drop Bowler, John. Drop him.
No.
Drop
Bowler.
John, if you're insisting we have to play a 3 at the back,
I'm not insisting anything. I'm not insisting anything.
This is the idea, right? So this is the idea of the flexibility, right? Against, like we said on a previous podcast, we play a back 4 when we were able to control possession with 2 midfielders, and then we play a 3-5-2 and drop Bowler and bring him as an impact sub against a stronger opposition, so that we're able to keep control of midfield. Which is what, if you think about going forward and what we did well last season, that was a massive part of it. So we are going to have to take hits on players. Because remember last season, we kept saying the system's more important than the individuals.
Yep. Okay. Got me into it.
Lavery. Get him in there.
He'll be knackered though.
Who cares? Lavery doesn't tire.
Yeah. He again, I think we were saying he got the most tackles v Millwall while playing as a striker. He just he's a Duracell bunny of a player.
I do wonder what impact that would have actually, because it's interesting. It would be interesting to watch us not just press from the front towards the centre halves and kind of we've never really let a team have possession in the back two. So it'd be interesting to see how we do if we do mark them out wide and kind of just let them have the ball in that area.
Jerry and Yates up top.
Yeah. Well, that is.
Right.
Are you playing Lavery in the 10?
I thought we dropped him.
He's going up top.
Right, put Lavery up top, put Keshi in at 10, and make Wintle and Dougal a midfield, like a central defensive midfield 2.
Yeah. And then just have Josh Bowler just sat at the corner flag, just watching.
There we go.
That is a shambles. No, it looks good on paper. It does. And it's like we're saying, because Bowler's been so good this season, it is hard to do this. But I feel like in 10, 15 games' time, we won't question the fact that Bowler doesn't play every single game, because it's not always about Josh Bowler. And it can't always be about Josh Bowler.
We have to stop them from scoring, basically, don't we?
Well, yeah, it's like... And that's why I do like the idea of Sterling and Gabriel on that right-hand side together, because it will give Gabriel much more of a license to go forward. Same with Garbett, finally getting a bit of freedom in his natural position. So, yeah.
Are we downloading this image?
No.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
There we go.
And more importantly, Sean, are you now willing to put your name to it?
No. No chance. Okay.
Matt is saying in the comments that we're using wing backs to cross to or slightly smaller forwards is not a good idea. To which point I say we won't cross, we'll do cutbacks.
Yes.
And we'll score 7 goals from cutbacks.
Yes. All about the cutbacks. I don't think I've seen us put in an actual ball in for a header this season, just purely because of cutbacks. It's just all about the cutbacks, just on any scenario. Cutback. That's all you have to say to anyone now.
It's all about the cutbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Someone laughed on Twitter, by the way, Connor, about one of your quotes saying football isn't about scoring goals, it's about finding space.
It is. Football is a game of space and controlling space.
And we're going to be doing that brilliantly in this 3-5-2 formation that does definitely not include Josh Bowler.
Right, on your head be it, Sean. On your head be it. Right, that's our team.
No, it's not my head.
That's our team. You've dropped Josh Bowler, Maxwell at the back, Husband left, middle Marv, right side Sterling, Gabriel right wing back, Garbett left wing back, Wintle and Dougal, CDM, Keshi just in front of them two, feeding Lavery and Yates.
Keshi finding those pockets of space with his incredible ability to break the lines. Like he's just sat between the lines in all those pockets of space, just breaking them all the time. Like,
I should really explain this because it's kind of an in-joke, isn't it? For anyone not understanding this, we've recorded A to Z of football hipster terms, only available to patrons in our new Extra Time show. So if you want to go and have a listen to it, well worth a listen. If you've got absolutely nothing better to do for 2 hours, patreon.com/Seasiders pod. If you want to sign up, a bloody good listen. Right, I'm going to cut it short, gents. We're on 1 hour and 5. I think we could be here all day. Viewers, if you are watching this on YouTube, please do give us a like and a sub. We're nearly on 1,000.
It'd probably be better to listen to it as well, so that you don't have to see that team. So there's a positive there to probably listening on Apple Podcasts as well.
All I'll say is, Sean said Jordan Gabriel is the key to, not Jordan Gabriel, John Thornley is the key to Blackpool
key to winning the playoffs.
Winning the playoffs.
And he was by him being dropped. So
How many subscribers are we away from 1,000?
I think we're on about 979 or something like that. So 20.
Because my mum and dad haven't subscribed. I should probably get on them about that.
All right, yeah. Get on to them. Get your mums and dads subbing. Right. I think we've seen enough. We've talked enough this evening, haven't we?
Definitely.
Match reaction shows coming on Sunday, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for joining us, listeners, viewers, etc. This audio pod will be out very shortly. Thanks for everyone in the comments for chipping in, and thanks to Matt from the Fulham Focus podcast. And as I said, thanks for watching, thanks for downloading, and up the pool.
Up the pool.
With a great tradition.